Thank you, Senator Clackman, Representative Myers, and colleagues on the Committee on Health and Human Services. I'm Paul Davis, and I represent and have the honor of representing Senate District 4, which includes all of Piscataquis County and parts of Somerset and Penobscot. And I'm here to speak on this LD 1550, an act to end the sale of flavored tobacco products. And that is exactly what the bill does. It prohibits the sale of all flavored tobacco products, including menthol cigarettes. Now, you're going to hear from advocates behind me about the science behind this proposal and the research that shows it will significantly reduce tobacco consumption and prevent youth from ever using tobacco products. This is something I strongly believe that we need to address as a state. It's interesting to think about tobacco. Tobacco is the only product, when it's used as it's supposed to be used, as it's instructed to be used, causes death, addiction, disease, and all kinds of problems, not just to the individual, but socially and to folks all around them with secondhand smoke and whatever. I know this personally. When I left the Army back a long time ago, Senator Claxton, you and I were a lot younger, I was heavily addicted to smoking. I smoked at least 2 packs a day. I'd reach out at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning when I woke up and get my cigarettes and lay there in bed and smoke a cigarette. My faith in God allowed me to quit, and it was a real struggle, but I did. And tobacco has also tragically affected my family. I lost both my father and my brother to lung cancer. They both were very heavy smokers. And I believe my mother passed away because of secondhand smoke and breathing it all her married life. My generation and that of many of us in the legislature and of our great state have been gripped by the addiction of tobacco. Many of us started smoking long before the dangers of smoking were well known, before the tobacco industry was caught lying to Congress about the health effects and the addictive nature of tobacco. We can, however, help ensure that the current generation of young people in middle schools and high schools and colleges all across our state don't get trapped by this addiction. And they, in fact, could become the first tobacco-free generation. Sadly, my family is not alone in experiencing the tragic effects of tobacco use. I was very surprised to learn that Maine has the 6th highest rate of tobacco-related cancer cases in the nation. Only the United States, little state of Maine, has the 6th highest rate. And the 11th highest rate of tobacco-related cancer deaths. Sadly, again, Piscataquis County, a beautiful county that has Mount Katahdin and Moosehead Lake in it, has the highest adult smoking rate of all the counties in Maine, with more than 1 in 5 adults that smoke. In Maine, more than 1 in 4 high school students use e-cigarettes, a rate that nearly doubled in the 2 years between 2017 and 2019. My county, Piscataquis County, or the county I live in, I guess I should say, saw the greatest increase in high school e-cigarette use in that 2-year period, where the use rate quadrupled. We got to do more, folks. Now, I also sponsored the bill 2 or 3 years ago, at least that long ago, time goes quickly, that raised the age to 21. I learned a lot doing that. The American Cancer Society had asked me to do it, and I agreed to. One thing I did learn was the monetary loss. Now I certainly consider the pain and suffering and the loss to families and everything that go along far more important than monetary loss, but the monetary loss certainly is what we need to consider as well. At that time, it was said that the state of Maine, tobacco-related diseases amounted to about $800 million a year in costs. About $400 million of that was public money. The rest was private insurance or people paying for it out of their own pockets. I dare say that's far more than that today, even though it's only been 3 or 4 years. Prices certainly have spiraled an awful lot. That's just a monetary loss. That has nothing to say about the anxiety and the anguish and the sorrow that goes along with the suffering and the pain and everything that people have to go through because they're addicted. I remember my father sitting on the edge of his bed and coughing until he was all out of breath, and he could only make just a tiny, tiny noise. My mother gasping for breath. My brother suffering. I remember it very well. Now you're going to hear today from opponents of this legislation about how this legislation will do more harm than good, how businesses will close and the sky will fall. In 2017, as I said, when I sponsored legislation to increase the minimum sales of tobacco products to 21 years of age, opponents made the same claims, labeling the policy as radical, saying businesses would close and that it would cause illicit sales. If you look at the testimony submitted on that bill, you will likely see the same arguments as you hear today, and as Representative Myers pointed to, the same folks that are providing the money for it. I was proud when Maine became one of the first states in the nation that passed legislation because I knew it was the right thing to do. And amazingly, Governor Christie in New Jersey, very shortly afterwards, signed legislation doing the same thing. And amazingly again, President Trump signed federal legislation raising the legal sales age. There's a lot of people that agree with us all across the political spectrum. When we passed the law in 2017, we did not see so-called unintended consequences the industry warned us about. And I doubt very much if we'll see, if you good folks pass this legislation out of the full legislature and we enact it and the governor signs it, that'll happen again. You will hear there are legal problems that some adults enjoy. Excuse me, I said that wrong. You will hear these are legal products that some adults enjoy and should have the choice to buy. When I was younger and smoking 2 packs a day, it didn't feel like a choice. Losing a brother and a father and my mother, the lung cancer, secondhand smoke. And I look back on it all, and certainly I didn't have any choice in the matter. Something that is worth protecting, however, is the health and longevity of future generations' life by putting a stop to enticing and addictive products such as flavored tobacco. Let's stay focused on the point of this straightforward legislation. Most kids first use tobacco products that are flavored. The flavors attract them to use products and make it harder to quit. I remember sitting in the woods when we were hunting, and a friend lit up his pipe and he had cherry blend in it. And what a wonderful aroma that was. And another friend that I worked with when I was in the state police, he used to smoke Flying Dutchman. And what a nice aroma that was. It was very enticing. Flavors like menthol also make it more difficult for adults to quit. Getting rid of the flavors will prevent and reduce tobacco use when Maine ranks in the top 10 for tobacco-related cancer causes. We cannot wait for federal action. These cancer cases are real lives that impact real families like mine and more than likely, sadly, some of yours. We must lead the nation again because it is the right thing to do. Thank you very much, Senator Claxton, Representative Myers, for considering this legislation and allowing me to speak.